I'm sure I gave him a copy. I'm sure I gave our enemy Chuck a copy.
Mm-hmm. He probably did burn it though.
Yeah, he probably did. He probably never read it.
Yeah. He burned it before he could even read it.
Exactly. I was kind of unfortunately inspired by that Toe Touch Ship Bomb zine a little bit. Like I wanted to kind of push buttons as much as possible like Chuck was doing, but then I realized that that's not me naturally.
Right.
Like I am a horrible person, but
you're not a Chuck level.
I'm not a Chuck level horrible person.
Jesus.
I couldn't even match his level if I tried. Welcome to Accelerativ Thrust. I am Dan.
And I am Erik.
And this is sweet. I like the way you said that, by the way, Erik. Sweet. Actually, the only reason why it's sweet is because of the fact that you sounded so legit when you said it. Like, honestly, it doesn't sound like you're actually saying it. It sounds like you're hitting a button like a sound effect. Sweet. Do it again.
Let me find the button here. Just a second. Okay. Sweet.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're just pressing a button. That's awesome.
Oh, here, let me try this other button.
That's sweet. So
that one's not as good. Let's try this one. Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Woo. Sounds good.
Here we go. We're back.
So we have revealed everything. Just like Slipknot with Tortilla Man.
Yeah, what happened with the Tortilla Man?
I don't know. I guess they revealed the identity of Tortilla Man.
Oh, good.
I would look it up, but I don't have my phone, admittedly. So
well, here it is. It says, ever since he joined the band, the identity of Tortilla Man has been in question.
So everyone,
the hell is it Tortilla Man? Come on.
So let me get this straight.
Okay.
A whole fan base of maggots, because that's the Slipknot fan base. I mean, they're still called maggots, right?
As far as I know.
Okay. like juggalos. Yeah, Slipknot has the maggots. ICP has the juggalos.
And if you like both, then you're a juggajet.
You're a juggajet. They were wondering, who's this Tortilla Man? You know, like that's interesting to me. What? I didn't even know Slipknot had a Tortilla Man. Did you?
Yeah, I had heard about Tortilla Man. Okay. I thought that if I joined Slipknot, I would be Burrito Man because I'd be like an overstuffed tortilla.
You know, I'm starting to like the sounds of this Slipknot band. They're starting to sound delicious to me. So you got a Burrito Man and a Tortilla Man.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I would be the fajita.
And Taco Kid. And then I would be the fajita bro. So there you go. A whole band playing Metal from Iowa about food. Apparently.
Imagine that.
Well, okay, anyway, but Tortilla Man is actually, looks like his name is Panchero. Pancheros.
So
no, his name is Michael Pfaff, and I'm not joking. Pfaff. P-F-A-F-F. Pfaff.
That sounds oddly familiar.
Well, he plays keyboards in Sean Cron's side project, Dirty Little Rabbits. So that's probably where you've heard of it.
Interesting. Has he played in anything else? Does it reveal I don't know, is he like in a mariachi band or something?
No, I don't know why he has a tortilla face.
Does he look like a tortilla?
Yeah, kind of. Yes. He looks like a tortilla with a bondage gimp zipper mouth with rivets around it. But the rest of it just looks like a fried tortilla. I've never had a bondage burrito. If I lived in a city, I would start a place called Bondage Burritos.
Isn't that kind of what the you mentioned poncheros?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that kind of be what you'd label that? A bondage burrito, sort of?
Well,
like, I mean, you're wrapping stuff up, you know?
But see, at my burrito place, you actually get smacked with the burritos.
Oh, so they hit you with it.
Yeah. It's like a food kink sort of.
Yeah.
You know.
Thing. That's so burrito bondage. That is a new thing.
Yeah.
And you're going to invent it. You're going out of your way. God bless you, Erik, for inventing burrito. The
slogan
bondage.
Is bondage burritos. There is no safe word.
There is no safe word. Absolutely. It is. I would try a bondage burrito. I just don't know what I would put in my bondage burrito.
Don't worry. One of our burrito daddies will help you figure that out.
Okay, so they're not called employees, but burrito daddies. I'm really liking it. Burrito daddies could almost be. Okay, what about burrito daddies?
Yes, burrito
bondage burritos.
Burrito daddy is hot. Yes,
burrito daddy. I like the sounds of this. I like where this is going. This is I'm writing all this. Idea.
This is happening.
It is. This is
dear
so
listeners.
Happening.
Please visit my GoFundMe page to start Burrito Daddy's Bondage Burritos.
Yeah.
I'm writing this down. It's going to happen.
I think it's a great idea.
This
I think
is good.
You're onto
I'm
something.
designing a logo right now. Please just hold on a second.
We are starting off the summer right, my friend, with this idea of bondage burrito.
It is a burrito. It has it's
got like a mask,
spiked bracelet around it, like a gauntlet. And oh shit. It's very like vascular, a lot of veins. It's kind of throbbing,
popping out. So it's like a throbbing burrito.
Oh shit, this is so good.
Yeah, this is. Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to go from here. Like honestly, where do we go?
Thank you, Slipknot.
You are getting really excited about this.
I am wound up. T-shirts coming soon.
Must be the heat, huh?
Yeah, we have all kinds of sauce.
Yeah, we got all kinds of sauce and a lot of heat. A lot of heat in that bondage and that bondage burrito.
Woo. Oh, we get to name all the sauces. Oh, this is a blast.
All the sauces. You get to name all the meats too. Like the meats are going to be something different than what they actually are.
Oh, wow.
Unless, well, I guess you don't really eat meat, do you?
I don't, but we can explore that. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. You can always have tofu meat
or Satan.
Or Satan. Ooh, Satan meat. I like that. All
right. So, wow.
Yeah.
We really went down a burrito hole there.
A burrito hole. You know, that was the news of the century, I believe. Yeah. This is your trusted news source, the Accelerativ Thrust podcast.
Brought to you by Burrito Daddies. Bondage Burritos.
Bondage burritos. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a joke. We're just letting you know that. This is really happening. I can tell when Erik's being serious. The man's voice.
Yeah, this is the sound of me being serious.
So real.
Wow.
While you're at it, while you're enjoying a bondage burrito, you can still message us and ask us questions about music. But, you know, I don't know. Ask us about burritos and tortillas
or bondage. I mean,
or bondage,
whatever.
Any of it. Yeah. You can talk to us.
I have experience. I used to work in a porn shop. I can help you out with what you need.
What porn shop did you work at? Was that in Iowa City?
Yeah, the Adult Pleasure Palace. It's called.
Pleasure Palace.
I don't know. It's a vape shop now. So
okay. I used to take trips with my friends there, like late at night, just as like a joke.
Yeah.
You know, like when we were like 18 or 19, we thought it was funny.
Oh yeah. I mean, it is
like,
funny.
It is funny. It's funny and it's fun.
Yeah.
I honestly think everybody should have that experience at least once in their life.
Yeah.
Go to a adult shop.
Yeah.
Like super late at night at 2:00. You'll meet the most interesting, fascinating people.
That's that is not an exaggeration.
Mm-mm.
I would say everyone in their life should not ever take a job working there, though.
I could probably see why
awesome.
that is. Yeah, I could probably see.
There's awesome moments. There's very funny moments, but
sure.
For the most part, it's just boredom and creeps. That's about it. Yeah. So
right, exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking. Especially like, did you work the late night shift?
Overnight, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Overnight. Wow.
Yeah. I could tell you some stories, but I think our podcast would get shut down.
The FBI's listening already anyway.
Shit, they're already listening for the bondage videos.
I mean, I'm looking at this internet connection that says FBI van. They're not being subtle at all these days, are they? Like,
well, yeah, like I said, we've got their attention.
They're just like, oh, well, whatever. We can do whatever we want. We got power. Doesn't matter in the end. I mean, that's got to be what they're thinking. You know?
Probably.
Because what can you do, honestly, when you're a civilian who can't do anything about it? Like, you know what I mean?
About being monitored by the FBI?
Exactly. Like, at the end of the day, there's nothing that you can do about it. So does it matter if they're being subtle in their Wi-Fi connection?
Well, the way I look at it is either it's a delusion that they are monitoring me, or it's a delusion that they're not.
Yeah.
So either way, it's probably not real.
Either way, we're out of our fucking minds no matter what. It doesn't, Oh, the FBI.
Yeah.
But if you are listening, I hope you enjoy the records that we review, FBI.
Yeah.
These Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Federal Burrito Daddy.
Federal Burrito.
This is so stupid.
Anyway, what were you saying about the records? Sorry.
We did pick them with agents in mind.
Yes.
Like what FBI. Would the agents enjoy?
Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, there's some interesting stuff going on here. Let me tell you, because every single thing that we pick is interesting.
Oh yeah, always. We wouldn't pick things that weren't.
Yeah, we wouldn't pick things that weren't.
I just started to pretend that we're actually doing this podcast for the FBI.
We should totally do that. Like
they're listening in on us, and this is what they get.
Yeah. Record.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to call them.
All this is code.
We're going to review these nice strains of records.
Yeah.
Oh, nice strains of records.
I got about 100 kilos of albums in my garage.
I heard he died of a sound overdose. Okay. So, well, I mean, that's not far from the truth.
It could happen.
It can happen. Okay. Do we have any other news, Eric? I was really lax on the news, or should we move on and review records?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know of any other news. I don't know no.
There just hasn't. I don't know. Here's my problem. I'll be honest with our listeners. I just didn't really have the time because it's just been so chaotic. So but next time there will be news.
Yeah. But let's be real. No, I mean, if anyone's tuning into this podcast for the news, they're kind of fucked anyway.
That's true. You're getting fake news 101.
Yeah.
With us.
That's what I meant. They're kind of faked. I mispronounced that.
We kind of make it up as we go in case you didn't understand. Okay, so we've got 3 records that we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's delve into it. What I picked this week was a longtime favorite. As you know, Eric, I kind of reference this act all the time because this is my second favorite rap group, but also Slug, who is the MC in Atmosphere, is my second favorite rapper of all time next to Kool Keith. And so this album, you can't imagine how much fun we're having, is my personal favorite from the group. However, honestly, I decided I was going to pick an Atmosphere album because I remember that you listened to the day before Halloween, and you said that you really liked it.
Yeah.
Atmosphere has been around for a long time, and every single one of their albums is pretty different from one another. And especially nowadays, the newer stuff is quite a bit different than what they were doing in like the late 90s and early to mid 2000s. This is my favorite album because I feel like it is a transitional album. First of all, it's got a great title. You can't imagine how much fun we're having. And the thing about that title that I really like, I kind of view it in a different way now than I did when I first heard it, because I didn't really give a lot of thought into like maybe what the meaning was or what it was kind of representing. But this record is a transitional record because it's kind of like the last Atmosphere record that he really kind of did like I don't want to say hardcore, but it's sort of the last time that you really heard Slug and Ant do like this really sort of underground backpack boom bap sort of sound, I guess you could say. I don't really consider Atmosphere like a boom bap or backpack rap group or anything like that. But there's no question that they come from that scene in Minneapolis and the label Rhymesayers, which Slug co-owns. And it's just a really, really great, fun record, which I think is, you can't imagine how much fun we're having. It's kind of a little satirical in a way because it is a fun record in a sense, but it's also got some very dark, it goes to some very dark territory. And a lot of the lyrics on the album, in my mind, now that I listen to it, because I've been listening to this record for probably 15 plus years now. It came out in 2005. Listening to it as a 41-year-old now, it sort of seems like he was kind of communicating almost like the end of an era, and like some of the, like it almost, he kind of talks about, in particular, the song Say Hey There. He kind of talks a lot about disappearing or sort of like running away. And you kind of hear that all throughout the album lyrically. You kind of hear him sort of, there is a little like sort of like battle rap stuff that kind of is going on, like where it does kind of feel like Slug is just kind of calling out other underground rappers, or maybe he's sort of maybe kind of getting tired of existing in this sort of sound that Atmosphere was doing. And if that were the case, I can't say that that's exactly what it was, but if that were the case, it would make total sense because the follow-up album was a completely different sound. But there's a lot of really great samples, and Slug, one of the reasons why he's my second favorite rapper is because he's just so clever lyrically. There's just so many hilarious, odd, but also like, I can't think of very many other rappers that sort of makes you do like a double, at least for me, it makes me do kind of like a double take of like, wait, what did he just say there? Sort of thing. A lot of times it's not necessarily super wordy or super overly complicated, like Aesop Rock or something, you know, it's very direct. I kind of feel like Slug is one of those introspective lyricists in rap that is just able to communicate what he's trying to say in a song very, very well. One of the best at it as far as I'm concerned. And then the other half of the group, Ant, I still think, as popular as Atmosphere is and how much of a fan base they have, I still think Ant is a very underrated producer. One of the best to do it as far as I'm concerned. There's so many really interesting, cool samples throughout this entire record. And the way that it's kind of structured, it almost feels like a mixtape. I kind of think, again, that's sort of a play on the title. Like, I don't know if the title really had much to do with the overall feeling of the record. I don't think they could have picked a better title for the record. In my mind, it kind of seems like they really thought about that title. For example, the end of The Arrival, the first song, there are all these like little clips where he finds like a combination of singers and I don't know, news clips and rappers who say the word atmosphere. Mm-hmm. And what that is sort of an homage to a skit that was on the first De La Soul record, 3 Feet High and Rising, called Cool Breeze on the Rocks. They did the same thing. There's also Bill Cosby samples that are really funny. Now, I know Bill Cosby is more than problematic these days. Probably always has been, but we just didn't know it. But the samples are from this record called Bill Cosby Talks to Kids About Drugs, which is still, to me, just one of the craziest records that's ever existed. But it fits really perfectly with the song Panic Attack, which is just this really like noisy, sort of chaotic, atmospheric song where, I don't know, Slug's vocals on that one are very distorted and kind of has this like almost like nightmarish texture to it. It almost gets into the vein of like industrial rap or something, but it's not quite there, you know? But there's also just some really, really great, clever lyrics. Like, I don't know, one of my favorites is when the game gets in a tight spot, my name is Slug, you can find me in the A's of your iPod. I mean, it's silly, but it's just, it's clever too, because it's like, yeah, you know, Atmosphere is the name of the group and just stuff like that. And also when he like raps about like, you know, the cars driving by, like he's getting older, they're just bumping this bass. And like 2005, he's like, cars drive by with the booming systems. I must be getting old because the bass sounds ridiculous. And nowadays everybody's biting Tupac. So fucking, I'm going to stand over here and do the moonwalk. It's really great. You know, a really great lyric. It's very simple, but again, it's like very direct, you know, and it's not even really that simple. It's like, I could probably never think of a lyric like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's so good. Like his delivery is just so good. And then coupled with Ant's, there's a reason why Slug and Ant have done this for like, I think it's going on 13 or 14 albums now. Honestly, like Atmosphere is one of the few that has that level of longevity. You can't imagine how much fun we're having. It's sort of, I think, an overlooked record in their discography. It's not really a record that people talk about as being a classic in the Atmosphere catalog, but it is my personal favorite. And actually, I struggled with what Atmosphere record I was going to pick. But this ends up being my favorite one. I think that it's, for one thing, I think it's the shortest one. There's only 13 songs, and it just seems like a statement. I'm here. I'm going to let you know what's going on, and then I'm out. And then, you know, I'm going to come back in another 2 or 3 years and we're going to kind of change some things up. And then, you know, that's sort of what I got from it. Now, of course, that's me having an interpretation to the context of being an Atmosphere fan when I was pretty much since I was like 18 years old. Anyway, so yeah. What did you think about it, Eric?
So I remembered that we had listened to an Atmosphere record before and I really liked it. But I hadn't gone back and listened to everything else like I said I was going to at that point. So I had not heard this before. I really, really liked it eventually. So let me try to explain that. So when it first started, the rapping just seemed a little aggro for me. It just seemed a little, I don't know how to say it, kind of gruff, kind of had an aggressive edge to it. And unfortunately, I kind of associate that with certain things like, I don't know, like ICP or something. Just having a rough voice and you're rapping, you know, like that kind of thing. It just, usually I associate it with groups I don't really like that much. So, but with that being said, I got through the first song and then got to the second song and I was like, okay, this is pretty good. And the further it went, the more I realized it is really an amazing record on all accounts. So like the vocals, eventually I started to understand that there may be more, it's more of a delivery, sort of like LL Cool J or something, like kind of almost laid back, but with that gruff tone. So I started to understand it a little bit. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed it. The lyrics are amazing. You almost get lost in them. Like you almost can't keep up with all the turns of phrase and all the clever things and all of it. It almost, at times, it almost became sort of a musical element to me, like where I started to not even hear the words anymore. It's just so constant and consistently good that you, like I said, you almost can't keep up. I did end up liking the style, slug style, but at first yeah, like I said, it wasn't really my thing, but I did end up liking it. And the production is amazing. It's super, like we always say, dense, but this is like impenetrably dense. It's like you have at least, it seems at all times, 4 or 5 samples going. And there's samples that don't seem like they would fit together at all, but they come together to create some just really strange and cool elements. I think the song Smart Went Crazy. That's sort of where I started to be like, wait a minute, this is just wild. It has some crazy, intricate sort of bass line, a sample of a guitar solo that I would guess is from Sympathy for the Devil, sped up like to a full octave above, or maybe it's like a ring modulator. I don't know. It sounds nuts. It sounds like the Chipmunks version of a guitar solo, but
right.
And it's just funky and like actually funky, like funk samples. And in that sense, it really, I would put it in the same realm as Paul's Boutique. And I know that's saying a lot, and I know it probably will piss some people off, but the way that the samples are put together and just sort of the directive of the whole thing, like the purpose of the whole thing, really feels on par with Paul's Boutique. Now, of course, the rapping is totally different, the subject matter, the mood. But yeah, I know that Paul's Boutique is sacred and everything, but I would say if you like that, you like the Dust Brothers production on that, I would listen to this, just because I think you'll also kind of glob onto that level of sample use. And it's awesome. And like I said before, at times I could barely even pay attention to the rapping because the production literally stole all my attention. Like all my bandwidth as a listener was consumed by the production, and that's awesome. So I really enjoyed it. And again, I really do need to go back and listen to the rest of the records, but I guess if periodically you're just going to pick one, then I guess I'll hear them all eventually. So,
you probably will too.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Nice. Well, for my pick, this record, it came out in 2019, and I discovered it basically probably at the beginning of 2021. End of 2020. And so I kept putting it off because I figured they would come out with a new record that would make more sense to review. But turns out that the band Priests, they are on hiatus. So this may be it for at least a while. This record is called The Seduction of Kansas. Right off the bat, I will say that to me, this checks so many of the boxes of the things that I like. That it makes it beyond an enjoyable listen to me. It turns it into almost a transcendent experience. And I haven't really experienced that maybe since we reviewed the Perfume Genius record, where I was just like, every song, I literally can't pay attention to anything around me because I'm just consumed with the sound. So Priests are a band from Washington, D.C. Katie Alice Greer on vocals, Danielle on drums, and G.L. Jaguar on guitar. This, to me, is pretty straightforward, sort of no wave worship. I don't know how else to put it. The music, to me, sounds like an updated sort of New York, new wave, no wave sound. It's very sparse. It's angular. It has a lot of motoric rhythms, really tom heavy rhythms, sort of like a bow wow wow sort of thing at times. There's elements of electronics, but for the most part, I would say this sounds like a band, a guitar, bass, or I guess it's just guitar, drums, and vocals. And it sounds like it. So like I said, very sparse. Vocally, I would say that Katie Alice Greer, elements of Debbie Harry, Allison Staton from Young Marble Giants, and Deborah Eyal from Romeo Void. And actually, those are also musical elements that I hear too, all of those groups. So musically, a lot of Young Marble Giants. And I know if any listeners out there know of a band or a scene or something that predates Young Marble Giants and sort of led to their sound, they probably think I'm an idiot or are sick of hearing me talk about Young Marble Giants as if they're the big bang of a certain sound. But to me, they are. I mean, they are ground zero for a very specific type of music and a very specific sound. So they're going to get mentioned by me a lot. And that's just the way it is. So, like I said, elements of Young Marble Giants, some more like earlier 2000s kind of stuff too, like the Yeah Yeah Yeahs or TV on the radio, a little bit of like Chromatics, like the Johnny Jewel stuff. And yeah, The Cure, Romeo Void, and a lot of the Cocteau Twins, actually, especially the Head Over Heels album, very similar. But yeah, I think the songs are really cool. The lyrics are really fun. It's ethereal and kind of trippy and has that element to it, but it also, I think they're trying to make enjoyable music. I wouldn't call it pop, but it's accessible and you can sing along with it. I don't know. I can't really say enough about it. It's one of those records where it's just like, it did it so perfectly and met so many of the desires I might have for hearing music that I don't have much else to say about it, except that I loved it. And I think people would love it too. So what do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I really like this a lot. What I really liked about it, I actually think that the singer's voice was actually really unique. I could definitely hear comparisons, like you were saying, to Debbie Harry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I heard a little bit of like Liz Phair as well. Mm-hmm. Sort of in that, the singer from Missing Persons. And actually there was almost like an element of like that Missing Persons sort of stuff. I don't know if you ever listened to much Missing Persons before.
Yeah.
A bit. I really, really liked her voice a lot. But I also think that kind of like what you were saying, Eric, there had a very no wave element where I think that there were a lot of interesting notes and chord choices kind of going on. I really liked sort of the dreamy atmospheric feel in the background that was kind of going on a lot. That's where I think I could definitely see the comparison to the Cocteau Twins for sure. But I liked the fact that there was always something really interesting to listen to. Like when the performance was kind of like you were saying, you don't really want to call it pop necessarily because it's not really conventional pop. I would say it's maybe an interesting take or like an unconventional take on pop music, but the song structures are definitely not conventional. But they would be playing like this part that had some melody or whatever, and then all of a sudden just kind of go into like this, like what you were saying, kind of like this trippy part that almost made it sound psychedelic at times. Like I don't remember what the name of the song was, but it's one of the last songs, I want to say around track 9 or 10, where they it was like this really, really great song, great melody. And then it just kind of broke off into like this bridge where it almost sounded like a dub band for like a little bit. Yeah. With like these weird, like the bass line really reminded me of that. Well, that one band that I think was it ESG?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, ESG, like something, it kind of reminded me a little bit of that. Like it was really bass heavy. And then all of a sudden there's like the synth that came in and it just really like, I don't know, it blew my mind. Like that part specifically blew my mind, but the entire record really blew my mind. I got to admit that at the very beginning of the first song, I kind of thought, so I actually thought it was going to be like kind of like a pop band at first, like you know what I mean? I was kind of like, okay, but let's see where this goes. And it really went like very quickly. It went into a lot of interesting places. Man, it's so good. Yeah, I would say if you like Blondie, if you like Missing Persons, and for me, I heard some Liz Phair. Maybe that's kind of weird, but for me, I kind of heard that a little bit, like particularly like her the second album, Whip Smart, because she kind of did some shoegazy type stuff on that a little bit. And I would say there were times where this almost went into shoegaze territory, but not quite. And then also, this is going to sound kind of weird, but I would even say if you like the Pixies or Sonic Youth, even Hum or like the Smashing Pumpkins, or really anything that kind of has that sort of dreamy sort of texture. This was really a grand slam, man. I really like this a lot. Yeah. And the other thing about it is it's another case where you really just shouldn't judge a book by its cover, because judging from the cover, I thought it was going to be like a 70s classic rock band or something.
The covers, it's weird. Yeah. I don't know. It's funny. It's like out of time. It's like, it looks like sort of a modern fashion kind of thing. Like the font is very fashion oriented, and then the picture, I don't know. Yeah, you guys will just have to see it. Whatever.
Yeah, and it's not a bad cover. It's just it doesn't seem representative of the music, like, or at least it's kind of unassuming, you know.
Right. I should also say that it's not all just shoegaze, sort of mellow, ethereal stuff. Like it's
not at all. No.
It's pretty fun overall. Like the song Seduction of Kansas, the second song, there's a part where she's just belting it out and it sounds great. And the music's moving along. And then she's singing White Castle, Pizza Hut, and even Applebee's. Like, you're like, what the fuck? You're singing about Applebee's? Like, that might work for that one shitty country song, but, you know, for the most part.
Wait, are you talking about the Applebee's commercial where it's like, other than chicken fried, cold beer on a Friday? Yeah, that's the Zach Brown band, Chicken Fried.
That shit sucks.
You don't like modern country at all, huh?
Well, I don't know about that. I actually don't know.
You mean you don't like that song, Going Down a Dirt Road?
I don't like, okay, this is going to make me sound like a dick, and that's fine. I don't care anymore, but I don't like songs that just promote not trying. Like, I don't like them.
What?
Yeah, it's like there was this song a while back about the kind of woman I am or something, and not any man of mine, not Shania Twain, but it was basically like, I'm the kind of lady that shops at Walmart in her sweatpants and I'm a real lady and stuff. And it was, I always was just like, well, fine. I mean, we are all real people, but should we tout that? Like, should we be proud of it? I think that
should not be proud of being human at all.
No, not human. I just think people celebrating being mediocre is annoying.
Yeah,
that's all. That's all. Like, I'll wear t-shirts and jeans. Well, who the fuck doesn't? I mean, who cares? You're gonna write a song about that?
Yes, I am.
Christ.
I think I am. I think I'm really gonna write a song.
Yes, we eat food. We drink cold beer.
Yeah.
We go to Applebee's. Fine. Grats.
Do you really go to Applebee's here?
No, but
okay.
That's because I'm an elitist asshole. See, there's two extremes to everything.
That's true.
But they wouldn't listen to my songs. They wouldn't like those either.
By the way, I forgot to mention that in the Atmosphere review,
yes,
he even samples himself.
Whoa, that's cool.
Atmosphere samples Atmosphere.
I love
on that album. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Completely forgot about that.
I was going off. We needed to change the subject.
No, I kind of agree with you. And I was being kind of an ass by like saying, all humans should hate themselves.
Well, I don't know.
Leave this all in, Eric.
I'm going to let people just hear me be an asshole.
We should do an episode that's like, it's Dan and Erik from the Accelerativ Thrust, like you've never heard them before. Unfiltered.
Yeah, unedited. Just pauses and coughs and throat clears and bullshit. Thousands of ums and likes and honestlys. And in my opinions, there will be thousands of those. So get ready.
Yep.
And all the glitches. You won't believe all the glitches. Sorry to go off on the common people. If I ever write a song about my truck, shoot me. That's all I'm saying.
What about your van?
I mean, vans are a little different.
Yeah.
I did write a song about my van once.
Did you?
Yeah, it's called Ultra Van.
Ultra Van? Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it was a gimpy song.
Was it really? Unreleased material?
Uh-huh. There's tons of it.
I can imagine. Because it all came out before the album. Or happened before the album, I bet. Or maybe it was after the album. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of that stuff was probably going to be on the second album.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
But gotcha. I hate second albums, so that's how it is. Second albums suck. Name one good one.
No, never mind.
Yeah, never mind's pretty good, I guess.
Kerplunk.
Yeah, I mean that's all right.
Anima. Yeah, I've
never heard of any
albums.
of
What
these.
are you talking about?
I've never heard of any of these.
Paranoid? What are you talking about, Eric?
Who's that by?
You're paranoid. You think that second records are out to get you like the FBI.
Sophomore slumps.
Sophomore slumps. It's the sophomore slump of the year. And
we should do a sophomore slump episode.
That we should actually.
The worst second albums.
The worst second albums. Yes, absolutely.
For anyone listening, Dan and I just went on a really long bullshit tangent about nothing, and it's all getting edited. So
yeah.
So let's go ahead and talk about our local release, the Vahnevants. That's how I'm going to say it. If it's the Vahnevants or Vahnevants, I'm sorry, but I don't know how to say it. I'm going to say the Vahnevants because that sounds fun. The record is called Stoned Together. Came out in 2021. I only became aware of this because I started following someone on Instagram because they seemed kind of tuned into a lot of cool shows happening. And so then I looked at their profile and it said they were associated with the Vahnevants somehow. And that is literally all I know. So I decided to check it out. The Vahnevants are from Des Moines. And they've been around a while. The first thing on Bandcamp shows that it came out in 2014. So that's quite a long time that they've been around. This, unfortunately, is the first time I've heard them. And members of the Vahnevants, I'm sorry if we've been in the same spaces or at the same places and I don't remember. Yeah, I apologize. But this is the first time I've heard it. And I was really, really blown away by this. I think, and this is not, I'm not going into specifics and I'm not talking about anyone that we reviewed on the show. I'm just talking about in general. I think you give a little bit of leeway to local releases. I think when you listen to them, you think, yeah, this is amazing. The production's really good and the songs are good. But it always still has kind of a local feel to it. Not always, but sometimes. And this truly doesn't on any level to me. I loved it. It's really cool and dopey. It's druggy, which shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, it's called Stoned Together, the record. It's really natural too. None of it feels forced even for a second. And yeah, it's really lo-fi, folky, trippy, quirky, soulful. I don't know. I can come up with all kinds of descriptive words for it. But really, at its core, it kind of feels like a soul group, okay? But also like a 60s psychedelic group too, so somewhere in the middle of those things, and a lot of garage rock and a lot of other trippy stuff. So there's like warbly tapes, there's weird electronic rhythms, there's out of tune acoustic guitars, garage rock electric guitars. Yeah, so It really did a lot for me. I liked it so much. A couple of standouts that I would say Won't Be Long is seriously amazing. Say It is one of the most sing-alongable songs that I've heard in a long time. I've probably listened to it 10 times since I had started to review this. And is amazing. There's 6 sort of regular kind of songs, and then that doesn't mean that they're all the same. Like I said, there's elements of freak folk, psychedelic, but there's also, it reminds me a lot of the Sonics in places, the Holy Modal Rounders. You might know them from the song I Want to Be a Bird. It's on the Easy Rider soundtrack. It's a pretty strange song and actually a pretty strange group, but really good. Parts reminded me of Syd Barrett a little bit. But mostly when it comes down to it, this reminds me a lot of Their Satanic Majesty's Request by the Rolling Stones. I think that just the construction and how they approached it, and even the sounds, the guitars, even the songs in places, very reminiscent of that, which for me is great. That's I'm going to get a lot of flack. Actually, I'm not. No one ever responds to anything we say. So I'll just say it. Their Satanic Majesty's Request is probably my favorite Rolling Stones album. And I know that's probably the least favorite for most everyone else. So, but yeah, it's really cool. The last song is more of a long form sort of music concrete / found sound / cut up track. And I don't know the motivation of it. Like, I don't know if it was supposed to be sort of a found sound cut up, or if it's supposed to be like you're scrolling through radio stations, but there is sort of this momentum that it seems to follow some sort of arc as far as moving forward in time. I don't know if that sounds a little too crazy to say, but anyway, so yeah, the last track is sort of a long form found sound kind of thing. It clocks in at about 15 minutes. It's cool, but it is totally different than the other tracks, which the other tracks, I'd have a hard time telling you which one was my favorite. I really, really liked all of them, and I really like this group, and I am excited to go through more of it, and I mean, possibly have the chance to see them. Yeah, I can't really say enough about it. I thought it was great. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I thought this was really, really cool. It's definitely trippy, definitely psychedelic, but there's also like just some really great songwriting, like in all 6 of the, well, like you said, the 6 kind of regular songs, if you will. But I also really did like the sort of copy and paste, or however you want to describe that last track. Really, really interesting. Like almost like a collection of field recordings or something. Like, yeah, it almost had like a negative land feel to it or something. Sure. Like, yeah, really, really interesting stuff. Yeah, this album kind of felt to me like listening to an AM radio station, probably on psychedelics. It also, I kind of heard a lot of like sort of country elements going on here. Like, some of it reminded me a little bit of like Hank Williams, like sort of like the production of like old school country sort of, which I thought was just amazing. I don't know, to be honest with you, I struggle with really describing what I'm hearing here. And that's fantastic. I don't know. I almost want to say it sounds like if the Residents did a country album or something, like in a weird sort of way. Like, I also totally see where you're coming from with it too, Eric, because it definitely is. There's a lot of like warbly stuff. There's a lot of twang going on throughout. Some of it even reminds me of like Beck, like especially like the early sort of like outsider Beck recordings, but this isn't really outsider music either. I mean, it is kind of, it's weird music. It's strange music, or at least it's music that like you said, it's actually, some of it is very accessible, and you can sing along to it, but it's it's done through the filter of like oddness, if you will.
Yeah.
You know what
sure.
I mean? Like almost like something like Ween, but it doesn't really sound like Ween, you know? I don't know. Some of it kind of reminded me of Butthole Surfers. Like, but you know, it's awesome that like I struggle to really describe it.
Right.
I mean, it's because honestly, the only thing that I can really say is just listen to it. I feel like if I compare it to anything, like this is one of those releases where I honestly feel like if I compare it to anything, it's not really going to do it justice. It's only like the comparisons for this would only kind of be more like, I don't know, I guess like atmosphere or something, or like the way that you would hear it, as opposed to like it actually sounding like said band or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, in other words, Vahnevants, I think, totally has like their own thing going on.
Right. Yeah.
And like you were saying, this did not sound like it did not sound like it came from a local band to me. You know what I mean? Like this was really, really, really good stuff. And I actually list on Spotify of the rest of the records because I was so interesting to me that I want to check out everything else they did throughout.
And just judging from the covers of the rest of the records, at least on Bandcamp, look really cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I actually had to listen. I actually had to go to Bandcamp to listen to that last track.
Oh, yeah.
Because for some reason on the version that they have on Spotify, it only had the 6 tracks.
Oh, okay.
And then the number 7 was left off. And so I actually had to go to the Bandcamp version to listen to track 7.
Well, there you go, folks. Bandcamp.
So, yes. So Bandcamp is maybe a better thing to support than Spotify anyway.
Yeah,
I don't
probably.
know.
Maybe.
Who knows? I don't. I support so many things that I don't need to support, like Dr. Pepper, Zero Sugar. I don't need to be supporting it, but I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just a really good example. So
yeah, mine would probably be Crank.
You mean the drug?
Yeah, I probably don't need to buy as much Crank as I do.
Okay, because I didn't know if you were talking about the movie Crank or the drug.
Well, I mean, I watched the movie Crank while I'm on my crank.
Hey, is that the one that
Mike cranking?
Didn't Mike Patton do the soundtrack for like Crank 2 or something?
I actually don't know what Crank is. Is that really a movie? What's it about?
Yeah, it's a movie. It's a movie. I don't know who's in it. I don't know anything about it. I just remember seeing it.
Should we do some shows?
We should. We totally should do some shows.
All right. Well, this first one is pretty cool. And I'm not just saying that. If you've never listened to the band Cut Worms, you really should, especially if you like things like raining sound or maybe King Kong and the Barbecue Show, like their mellower stuff, but especially if you like the Beatles. And I'm sure Cut Worms is very tired of hearing that, but maybe they shouldn't sound so much like the Beatles. Anyway, Cut Worms with John Andrews and the Yawns. That's happening today, Tuesday, June 7th at the Raccoon Motel. So I don't know if I'm going to go to that, but I really would like to. I really like Cut Worms. They're cool. Okay, so moving on to Wednesday, the 8th. This is a show at Purgatory. Again, that is a house venue. So if you want to know where that's at, you could get a hold of me and ask. And if you're cool, I'll tell you. But yeah, it's going to be White Phosphorus, Mystic Cross, who is Claire from Dryad, Mall of America, who is Phil Mall, and Cenobite, which is described as new body horror music. So that's very interesting. So check that out on Wednesday. I probably will go to that one for real. And then Friday, the 10th, Dino Ride album release with Pit Lord, Half Catholic, and Echoes and Afterthoughts. That's pretty cool. I think that'd be a fun show. Friday the 10th. Also Friday the 10th, Hanging Fortress, Mutilation Barbecue, Gourd Embrace, and Frontal Assault. Wow. These are some death metal bands, guys. That's happening at Gabe's Oasis. It's called the Midwest Death Domination Tour. That sounds pretty sick. We don't get a lot of straight up full death metal shows in Iowa that I can remember. So
yeah,
might want to check that out. The same day at Roz Talks is Flux Bikes and Lazy Hex. Yeah. And then at the Trumpet Blossom Cafe is the Stephanie Catlett band with Dave Helmer. Dave Helmer is going to open the show. Dave Helmer is also in Crystal City. All right. So then Saturday, the 11th, we have a show at the Gas Lamp. It's One Can Stand, The National Treasures, and 10 Watt Robot, whom I don't know any of those guys, but maybe it's awesome. Probably it's awesome.
10 Watt Robot.
Yeah, I liked it. On the 12th, that's a Sunday at the Scarry Lark. It's going to be My Own Will, Hardship, Neck Rung, Empty Graves, and Crimson Clean Sweep. That is a River City Collective production. That's cool. Also that same night, this time at Lefty's Live Music, Cancer Slug. I can only imagine that Cancer Slug is totally awesome. Switchblade Saturdays, Grave Corpse, Cores, CORPS, Cores, Grave Cores, and Three Finger Betty. Oh man, here it is. This is the shit. At the Lift on Monday the 13th, Bob Log 3. There you go. That's all you need to know. Bob Log 3 rules. One of the funnest performers I've seen, and he's consistently been super fun and amazing since I was a young person, and that's not a joke. So you should go see that. Anyway, that's a lot of good shows. I guess we're awesome, right in the crotch of summer now. So
man,
we should be having a lot of shows. So
I didn't realize that Bob Log was still doing his thing.
Yeah, I did see him not that long ago, a few years. And you know, when someone wears like a helmet all the time, you don't really know anything about them. You don't know if they're old, if they're young. I can only assume he's very old because I'm very old. And
we actually met him.
Oh yeah,
Travis and I actually met him out back of Gabe's.
Nice.
When he at the time he seemed like he was probably mid-30s or something.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 30s or something like that. Yeah.
So that was 20, 30 years ago when that happened.
Well, yes, because maybe he was 20s. I don't know. But like the thing is, this was in the early stages of Disgruntled Noisebox, and we felt the need to sing him every song that we were writing.
Wow. Did he enjoy that?
He seemed to have, yes. He
thought
it was pretty funny. And he told us a story about how on tour, he was like, like he was telling us tour stories. And he seemed like he was a pretty wild guy.
Nice.
Some of the tour stories he was telling us sounded pretty wild.
Well, the show's a little wild. I mean,
it is. It's very wild. Like,
I guess I should warn people. There may be.
Yeah. It's very distorted blues. It's like the most distorted blues I've
with
ever
a lot of drinking and maybe some lap dances.
It happens. He'll actually have like one girl on one leg and another girl on another leg.
Yeah. So
what is it? What is it that he always says? It's like, I want your shit on my leg.
See, okay. So Bob Log 3 it's a little different. I should have maybe told people about that. But yeah, you'll enjoy it. Just calm down. Don't get all riled up about everything, and just enjoy
it for what it is. And maybe I don't know, maybe it's not like that so much anymore, but I couldn't imagine.
I don't know why it would change.
I don't know either.
I gotta tell you though, when he finishes his first song and he jumps out of his seat, throws his hands in the air and just goes, yeah, you are gonna love Bob Long.
You are.
That's it.
And he has like a bass drum on one foot and a cymbal on another. And he just sits there and it's great when he bobs his head and all you hear through the PA is like
I guess it is an aviator's helmet, right?
It's like it looks like from the movie Top Gun or something.
You're gonna have a blast.
Yes, you should go see Bob Long 3. And really, honestly, every show you mentioned sounded like a hell of a good time.
I know, right? A lot of good stuff.
There are some familiar names. I am familiar with Dino Ride. They put on a really great show. Really great show. And then there was somebody else. Lazy Hex. Do you know Mark Showalter, Eric?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
He's in Lazy Hex.
Oh, okay. All right. Yep. Sweet.
So that's going to be some electronic weirdness going on.
Yeah.
Probably some, I would assume, improv.
Yeah.
Though I don't know. Maybe they actually have songs structures. I don't really know.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I did not realize he was a part of that.
That's cool. He's a part of Lazy Hex, and so that's So all that stuff sounds really, really good. Well, folks, I think we're about ready to close camp, aren't we, Eric?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm still working on my Burrito Daddy logo.
So. Yeah, the Burrito Daddy logo. That's right. We learned about the new Burrito Daddy that's coming to town.
God damn.
That's
even just saying it, hearing someone else say it just gives me chills.
You're just
I'm so excited. Oh, I'm just
really into that idea. And why wouldn't you be?
Oh man. Yeah. T-shirts coming soon, folks.
T-shirts, Burrito Daddy T-shirts. Burrito bondage.
Oh God. Oof. I love it. All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have yourself a good day, night, week, year, whenever you get around to listening to
this. See you next Tuesday. All right. Oof.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to pause it. Menopause it. Like, I wear T-shirts and jeans. Well, who the fuck doesn't? That shit sucks.